Welcome back to Riddled Get Thinking, where history is always riddled with mystery. Today, we're diving deep into the heart of democracy itself and asking, how much power do we really have in a democratic society? Is democracy as empowering as we're told? Or is it a mask for control by elites, corporations, and global organizations? Does your vote truly matter? Or are decisions made by forces we can't even see? Stick around as we explore whether democracy is a genuine expression of the people's will, or whether it's a system rigged by those behind the curtain. This is part of our Society series, where we tackle the hidden forces shaping our world today. The power of the individual, an illusion. Democracy, in theory, gives every individual a voice. But let's be honest, how much power do we really have? Hegel suggested that in large democracies, individual voices get lost. If you're one of millions casting a vote, does it really matter? And here's where Plato's famous critique comes into play. In the Republic, Plato warned that democracy could easily turn into mob rule. Without wisdom and proper guidance, the masses can be swayed by demagogues, leaders who manipulate emotions to get what they want. Think about it. Are we really making informed decisions, or are we just following the loudest, most persuasive voices, often manipulated by media and politicians? Plato feared that majority rule without wisdom could lead to instability. Democracy, he argued, might look good on paper, but in practice it could spiral into chaos. Tyranny of the majority. A flaw in democracy. This idea of democracy's vulnerability doesn't stop with Plato. Alexis de Tocqueville coined the term tyranny of the majority. He was concerned that in a democracy, the majority's will could trample the rights of the minority. Does majority rule really mean justice for all? Or does it just give the larger group the power to dominate the smaller one? Friedrich Nietzsche took a different approach, but shared a similar concern. He believed democracy often suppresses exceptional individuals, pushing everyone towards mediocrity. By favouring equality, democracies could be rewarding the ordinary while stifling innovation, genius, and those who think outside the box. Is democracy truly fostering greatness, or is it encouraging conformity? Are elites really in charge? Now let's take a look at the elites. Many argue that democracies are not really run by the people, but by the wealthy and powerful. Politicians often rely heavily on corporate donations to fund their campaigns. In countries like the United States, for example, corporate lobbyists wield immense power. Policies are often shaped by big business interests, not the voters. And this isn't just a political issue. It's also about the revolving door between government corporate boardrooms and the media. Is it really the public that has control? Or is it a small group of elites making decisions behind closed doors? This leads to a deeper question. Is democracy merely a facade for oligarchy, where power rests in the hands of a few? Media manipulation and nepotism. Who's controlling the narrative? Then there's the media. Media companies play a massive role in shaping public opinion, and more recently social media. But here's the question. Who owns these companies, and do their interests overlap with other areas of power, such as finance, technology, or politics? Could the media be steering public opinion to benefit those interests? Consider major asset managers like BlackRock and Vanguard, who have investment across numerous industries, including media. If these companies hold financial interests in various sectors, could they use media outlets to sway public opinion in ways that benefit their broader agendas. This blurs the line between independent journalism and corporate influence, raising the question of whether the information we consume is as unbiased as we'd like to believe. Nepotism also plays a role. In many democracies, the same families or close networks hold on to key political and corporate positions. Is this truly a meritocracy, or are we living in an informal aristocracy where the rich and connected always stay at the top? Supranational organizations diluting power. Even further, in a globalized world, we also have to consider the impact of supranational organizations like the European Union, the United Nations, and the World Economic Forum. These organizations are supposed to help govern and regulate on global scale, but who are they really accountable to? Many critics argue that these bodies dilute national sovereignty and, by extension, individual power. If decisions affecting entire populations are made by unelected bureaucrats in Brussels, Geneva, or Davos, how much say do citizens really have? Are democracies being drowned out by global bureaucracies that aren't even answerable to the people they claim to serve? The deep state. Who's really pulling the strings? There's another layer to this. Some believe that no matter who you vote for, the policies and outcomes stay the same. Whether it's a left-wing or right-wing government, there seems to be little difference in the grand scheme of things. Why? One theory points to the concept of a deep state, an entrenched bureaucracy that operates independently of elected officials. Could civil servants or technocrats be the real power behind the scenes, making sure that governments follow a specific agenda no matter who's in charge? Alternatively, some argue that corporate interests drive policy. It's not the deep state, but big business that's pulling the strings. The fact that political decisions often align with the interests of multinational corporations raises serious questions about whether democracy is really about the people or about profit. Globalists, Davos, and conspiracy theories. This brings us to one of the more controversial aspects: global elites and conspiracy theories. Every year, the World Economic Forum in Davos gathers political and corporate leaders to discuss global issues. Some see this as a necessary meeting of influential leaders, but others believe it's part of a broader conspiracy where a small group of globalists controls everything. Whether or not you believe in these theories, the concentration of wealth and power in the hands of a few is real. The influence of global corporations and powerful individuals raises serious concerns about how democratic societies truly function. Are decisions made by democratically elected representatives, or are they being influenced by the secretive meetings of a global elite? Does democracy still work? So does democracy still work? Some argue that democracy has become hollow, a system where voters go through the motions while the real decisions are made by elites, corporations, and global institutions. Others point to the rise of populism as a way for the people to regain control. But even populism can be dangerous, potentially undermining democratic norms and leading to authoritarianism. It's clear that in modern democracies, individual power is often limited by a variety of forces: corporate influence, media manipulation, entrenched bureaucracies, and globalization. While democracy theoretically provides individuals with a voice, these powerful structures can combine to dilute that voice, leaving us wondering whether we are truly shaping our society or simply following decisions made by those above us. What do you think? Are democracies still a force for good, or Or have they become systems where power is concentrated in the hands of a few? Is our media shaping our views to benefit corporate interests? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe to Riddled Get Thinking, where history is always riddled with mystery. This has been part of our Society series, and we have more thought-provoking videos on the way, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep thinking. As